Hey everyone, Ally Baroa for Financial Intelligence Training. It's Friday, it's August 24th, and it's 2018. So the word running across the internet is impeachment. Now, I'd like to say I told you so, but come on, we all knew that was going to be the case after Wednesday, right? So nothing original there. At least I think so. All right, so let's talk markets and what's been going on. Now, in the post on Wednesday, I talked about the bump in the financials. It was anemic, but it was a bump. So 2 days later, we continue to skate the 21-day moving average there, so that looks just fine. To be clear, fine is not great. Fine is just that. Fine. Like to see a little bit more productivity out of the financials. Now looking at the transports, we remain 1% north of the pivot, which was set on June 12th at 201, and that peak that we saw this week at 206.90, well, that looks good. And the 3-day pullback, in my opinion, well, it's just healthy consolidation. So we'd like to see it hold that former resistance, now support at 201 hold. So let's turn our attention to the semis, because Tuesday's leap back above the 200-day has had some really nice follow-through with 3 straight sessions on the comeback trail. Now we are seeing the important area of the semis peaking just back above their 50 and even their 21-day. So this is the kind of action that we like to see. Cooperation from beneath the surface. Now, that shouldn't push us into a complacent stage, but it should give us some encouragement, right? Especially with all the yield curve watchers out there calling for the end of the world. I mean, the end of the bull, I should say. Now, with Fed Chairman Powell speaking today, well, he could derail all that positive action when he speaks in Jackson Hole. He certainly has the power to do that, so let's stay tuned to see what he's got to say. Now, with rate hikes a near certainty in September, the yield curve, or better said, the yield flat, may move towards inversion. And if you know what that has previously foreshadowed, well, that's a recession. Now, this time, I think it's different. Not that an inverted yield curve won't bring a recession, but I would say that rather the curve or the flat, whichever you're more comfortable calling it, is very different now because of all of the, let's call it government manipulation that we've seen, right, with rates. So my suggestion is less focus on the curve and more focus on beneath the surface to gauge the health. Now, I could be wrong, but I tend to think the market is pretty smart here, and it's going to let us know well in advance. So watch the macros, because look, we're coming off of some peak data, right? We've had ripe GDP that's been north of 4%. We've had big earnings that have been out. So we're kind of living in Shangri-La, right? Well, if we are, then perhaps we may still live in glory, meaning that it's not that we're going to not have good data, but that data may subdue a little bit, right? Isn't that kind of a form of a recession? Not the horribly negative one, but just coming off of peak data. I'm just saying. Let me give you an example. Think about Facebook for a moment. Previously, they were growing at a really robust clip, right? Double-digit pace. High double-digit pace, I should say. And now guidance has been single digits, or maybe lucky in the low 10s, right? Now, we could argue that those guys are going to be sandbagging, but that's a story for another day. But if you look, there was substantially less growth, but growth just the same. So the point here is to pay attention. Know your risk and look at your alternatives so that you take some pressure off of all of your assets to perform, or the sensitivity of those assets performing. Now, if you're trading, guys, remember, stock and stock options is not suitable for all investors and maintains a substantial degree of risk. If you like charts like I do, well, we know past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I'm Ally Baroa. This is for Financial Intelligence Training. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everyone.